morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching Red Door Conversations. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We have a fantastic show for you today. Today's show topic is multifamily investing, and we're coming to you from Houston, Texas. So we're going to give you perspective from an expert who has multifamily product on the ground. And I'm excited to talk about this because this market is shifting like nobody's business.
Yes.
Lisa, what are you seeing out there regarding multifamily?
Well, multifamily is still something because your everyday buyer and seller are not investing in multifamily. It's your investor. So that's going to be a little different than the typical market where you have your buyers and sellers dealing. So multifamily is still pretty steady from what I'm seeing. Because our investors, I mean, there's cash out here.
There's a lot of money to be made in the Houston market.
Yes.
And especially, you said something, it's not just the everyday buyer, it's an investor mindset.
That's it.
So we have people not only from Houston and surrounding areas, but other states coming into our city.
Absolutely.
Internationally coming into our city.
So this dynamic has to be handled a little bit differently than your regular market.
Yeah, but there's a ton of opportunity, right, Mark?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm seeing that it is being desired more. People are asking for it more. With the influx of people from around the country relocating to Houston, Texas, they are wanting that. They're asking, where are your doubles? I didn't know what a double was.
What is a
duplex?
A duplex?
Yes, say duplex to me. Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm seeing the desire where, people are wanting to own duplexes.
I think a light bulb has gone off with, I don't know about America, but the people I've been interacting with, a light bulb has gone off that real estate is where it's at.
Well,
it's always been there.
For investment purposes, it's so solid. And what I'm seeing is Generation X and Z and these younger folks, I want to double. I want to live in one property and I want to rent out the other, have it be income producing.
And here's the deal.
That's smart.
We have another local celebrity.
Yes, we do.
I've said that every show.
Yes, we do.
But we have killed it this season.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes. We have a local celebrity coming in to tell us the strategies of how to invest in multifamily real estate.
How blessed are we to have him here on the couch today?
I'm excited for this one.
Girl.
So we don't want you guys to go anywhere. You stay where you are. Get your pen and paper ready because you will want to take notes if you're interested in investing in multifamily real estate in the Houston, Texas market and surrounding areas. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Alicia Washington, and I'm excited to share my experience with GBR Realty and Lisa White. So I've had the opportunity to sell, buy new construction, and lease with Lisa White and GBR Realty. My first transaction was selling a home that I'd originally purchased as a foreclosure. As expected, when the inspection came back, there was a laundry list of things that needed to be addressed. The thing that I liked most about Lisa is that she helped me go through that laundry list and really decipher what was a must-do versus what was a nice-to-do. Anything that affected the overall functionality or structure of the home, she made sure that we addressed. She provided us with contractor resources who were affordable and reliable and able to get the job done in a timely manner. As a result, we sold that house for way more than I could have ever expected, and I was absolutely happy with the service received. That experience made me completely confident when we decided to build a new construction home. I knew that I would get the same value in that home that Lisa made sure I provided to the buyer of my previous home. Again, as can be expected, there were ups and downs throughout the process. The thing that I liked the most, though, is that I rarely knew about the downs while they were happening. Lisa worked with the builder, got things addressed, and by the time I found out what went wrong, we could laugh about it instead of stressing out about it. And that was really important for me. We got through the new construction, though it was a little bit behind schedule, but I was confident when I moved into my home that I had the best possible product that I could get because she stayed on top of everyone who was involved in the process. Because of all of these experiences that I've had with Lisa over the years, she is undoubtedly my realtor for life.
Welcome back to Red Door Conversations. I'm your co-host, Kimberly Dixon Dudley. I'm joined here on the sofa with my lovely co-host, Miss Lisa B. White, all the way from Pearland, Texas.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm happy to be here. We got a good one.
Feeling good?
We got a good one for the people. Oh, girl, feeling great.
Oh, I love that. And
Yes.
I feel that.
Yes.
Receive that energy.
That's it.
Miss Marla Lewis, how are you feeling over there?
I'm feeling absolutely fabulous.
Fabulous.
Baby, that red is looking good on you, honey.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's my favorite. That's my go-to, baby.
Oh, I know.
Red and pearls. Yes, honey. You cannot go wrong.
We have a good show today. Lisa, you said it at the top of the show. We have a local celebrity here
girl.
breaking down the strategy to owning and investing in multifamily real estate here in the Houston and surrounding markets. Who in the world is behind the red door? Come on out. Hey!
Look at that smile. Doesn't he have a beautiful smile? That's his signature smile.
Mr. Joseph Green from Green Valley Construction. Thank you again for joining the show.
Thank you.
So multifamily investing is your lane. You are the expert. We have so many, we got questions. We do. And our audience has questions. But I think the main question is, people really don't know the distinction. What's the difference between multifamily investing and single family, or give us the general definition of what's considered multifamily.
Before you start that,
investing.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am so sorry.
What's the name of your company? And
Yes, ma'am. So the name of my company is Green Valley Construction. I've actually been in real estate for over 12 years now, about 12 years now.
Nice.
Yes.
so you started this game as a young man.
As soon as I got out of high school.
Really?
Yep, yes.
That's awesome.
And so you and your wife own the company together?
Yes.
Okay,
yes. Mhm.
okay.
Owned a construction company, recently created a real estate brokerage company as well.
Nice.
And a development company and an investment company as well too.
Okay.
32 years old, y'all.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about the multifamily piece of your story. How did you get into multifamily, and what projects do you have right now?
When it comes to multifamily, what intrigued me about multifamily the most was seeing everybody else, a lot of other investors play the game and win at the game, and I wanted to be a part of that game. And from being in the real estate industry, since I graduated out of high school, I worked for a lot of investors. I ended up working for a lot of investors as their real estate agent, helping them sell their properties. And I just started to pay attention to what were they doing and how they were flipping their money. And a lot of investors, they weren't actually selling the properties, they were refinancing the properties and keeping them. And from going through...
So they were buying them and holding them?
Yes, yes, they were buying and holding, yes.
But you said refinancing, so they were pulling cash out of the properties to invest into other projects.
Exactly, exactly. The tax advantages were amazing, and it really intrigued me to find out more. And so at that point, I started buying properties, and like most investors start out, that I've seen start out with single family. And I learned my lessons about why single family wasn't necessarily the best option to go. It was great to get into the investing space, but there's definitely better ways.
Now, why do you say that? Real quick. What's the difference? Real quick. What's the difference?
So the difference between a single family from a multifamily that I learned, I would say not necessarily the hard way, but you live and you learn, is unfortunately with single family, when that tenant doesn't make that payment, you essentially lose all of your cash flow, not just for that month, but possibly for the whole year. And so the thought process behind investing in getting the cash flow makes a lot of sense. But putting in only one asset with only one tenant when it comes stream is just not the best way.
And I guess let's just educate our viewers a little bit and our listeners a little bit on that. When you say possibly lose income for the whole year, because the tenant is already in there. So now you have to evict the tenant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because they're not gonna just pack up and move out.
Exactly.
So, and that eviction process takes how long?
Normally, depending on your municipality and area, it can take as quickly as 45 days. I've seen some go even longer.
Yes, me too.
Especially with the court process during the COVID pandemic. Sometimes it was taking even longer to evict some tenants that just were trying to take advantage of the system.
There you go.
Yeah,
You know?
right. Yeah.
And
so you said this too. As an investor, you need to be able to make that payment. If the tenant doesn't make that payment, so you need to have some capital to carry yourself if you've got 2 units. So we're talking about multi-units, however many units you have, right?
That's so true.
You need to be able to carry those notes. And how long would you recommend if I'm an investor?
If it was, from
Much
my own
capital.
experience, at least 6 months reserves.
6 months
Minimum
reserves.
6 months reserves.
Okay.
But as y'all stated, as identifying that regarding single family and then moving into the multifamily space, you eliminate a lot of those risks, or you're able to help mitigate a lot of those risks.
So
you
Kim
spread-
had asked, you asked him to tell us what was a multifamily property, because some of the viewers may not know that. Is
Right.
that what you were getting ready to ask?
Right.
Okay, so if you can just kind of
breakdown.
elaborate and let our viewers and listeners know what is considered a multifamily property.
Yes, so anything that is more than one single unit is considered multifamily. And so 2 units, such as a duplex, 3 units as a triplex, 4 units, or going into a larger commercial side, 5 and more, is anything of that nature is considered technically multifamily. Yes, ma'am.
And you invest in all of that.
Yes.
So what are like the first key steps in, wanting into, if you had somebody who says, you know what, I want to begin investing in multifamily, how do they get started with doing that?
The first step that was critical to me was, first step number 1 is a mindset. It's a mindset.
Okay.
Mindset is game changer. Your mind has to adapt to looking, or not to, number 1, not being afraid of debt, of good debt. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people, other fellow builders, other fellow investors I speak to, give advice to. And for all of us, even for myself, I had to learn we can go further if we take advantage of good debt.
There you
And so it's definitely good debt, not bad debt, but good debt. But I think
And an
that's the most
example of
important
good
thing.
debt is what?
Good debt would be such as leverage, like good debt such as real estate loans, lines of credit being utilized for business or real estate purposes. And any good debt, to me, what even classifies as good debt is something that is actually bringing you cash in and not taking cash away from you.
There you go.
So if it's bringing cash or capital in, it can be considered a good debt.
So like a mortgage. I mean, that's
Exactly.
good debt because it can be income producing.
There you go.
Good point. Good
There you
point.
go.
Very good point.
There you go. Thank you.
So what market trends do you think affect multifamily?
Well,
Multifamily investing, or if any? If they're not, what are your thoughts on that?
right now, from what I'm seeing, is the inflation is actually a good thing for real estate investors. And it's a sad thing to say, because looking at the spectrum, there are a lot of people hurting right now from inflation because of the rising prices, rising rents, etc. But as an investor, if you own assets, technically you're winning.
Yeah.
The appreciation alone in the building or the property that you own, that in itself is a plus.
And I was
Yes.
just telling an investor yesterday, she was like, I don't know. She was nervous. Like you said, a mindset. She was nervous about this investment. Am I going to be able to get the rent? Well, to your point, rents are up 21% in Houston. 21%. And they're not going in the opposite direction. So your rent income is going to be there. People have to live somewhere.
Right,
That's
they
so
have to
true.
live somewhere, and 9 times out of 10, if they're renting, it's because their credit will not allow them to be able to get
buy.
a mortgage. Correct, to
That's so
purchase.
true.
That's correct.
That's so true. And as y'all both stated, because rents are going up, so even for people that still want to get into the investment of multifamily game, and I call it a game because it honestly feels like a game when you become comfortable and you gain the knowledge and from meeting with people, iron sharpens iron,
Right.
and you gain that knowledge, you feel comfortable. You really realize it's a game.
You don't have to stress. You don't stress over it.
Oh, yes. I mean, I just love playing the game. You know,
And what do you love most about playing the game?
Really acquiring properties and the cash flow.
Does it give you a high?
It does.
You get a feeling.
Oh,
it's
it
like
does.
adrenaline rush.
Adrenaline rush.
Ooh,
Exactly.
tell me about it.
I'm telling you exactly what y'all just said. It literally is an adrenaline rush. It's like finding a great deal. When you find that deal, like there was one of the best deals I've ever done was two years ago. During the beginning of the pandemic, I found a deal that made over $1 million cash profit, and it came from an initial investment of $25,000.
Wow.
Amazing deal.
We're speechless.
And you know, that's hard for me, but I'm looking at him like,
Where was I? How did I miss that?
I'm saying, what?
so question, was this property in the MLS or was it?
Yes.
Oh,
and it was sitting on the
wow.
market for over 167 days.
So what made you see that? Because you had to see something about that project or something about it that other people didn't see.
The biggest thing on that deal in particular was, or actually in general in real estate investing that I've identified, is having an imagination, having a broad open concept. Don't see things for just as they are.
What
see
part
how
of the
you can
city was
multiply.
that property in?
Actually in the east side. East side
You
of
love
Houston.
that east side?
Oh, I love the
You
east
are
side.
all over the east side.
The east is taking care of you, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The east is working quite well. Yes, ma'am.
There
Yes,
you
ma'am.
go.
So if somebody is, say I'm just Joe Schmo, I've got a job, I've got a 401k, IRA, do you recommend that they tap into those? Because you talked about having bad debt or good debt earlier.
Yes.
Do you recommend that they tap into those assets to invest in?
100%. Because one thing which again, like y'all said, it's a mindset, right? So people have to realize hoarding cash, yes, it's good to hoard a certain amount of reserves, you know, so you can make sure you're safe. But outside of those reserves, if your cash is not working for you, if it's literally not soldiers making you money,
That's it.
it's literally losing money.
Say it.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's
right.
Yes, if I mean, that's just how it is. And so, you know, sitting inside of a 401k or sitting inside of a checking account that's giving you a minimal return, that's not even hedging against inflation. So technically your money is losing more value being stagnant than it would be if you actually put it to work. And that's one of the greatest things that intrigues me. Yes, ma'am.
And see, that's one reason that you're an expert right there.
Well, I have a question for you, and I'm going to ask you, but we're going to go to break, and then when we come back, then you can answer. So I want you to tell everyone that's just getting started, what is an ideal multifamily project for them to take on?
Okay.
What would be an ideal project, and how much out-of-pocket cash do they need to have? And we're not talking exacts, we're talking approximations.
Got it. Yes.
Guys, stay right there. We'll be right back. This is Red Door Conversations.
My grandmother used to say, your name enters a room before you do. My name is Kim Dixon Dudley. I'm a wife, real estate broker, residential developer, and City of Houston minority women business enterprise. I lead and manage an exceptional group of realtors at Kimberly Lane Properties. And here we do three things very well. We help Texas sellers sell their property at the best price possible with the least amount of stress. 2, we help buyers connect with lenders, insurance agents, inspectors, and all of the parties who make the magic of homeownership happen. And 3, we help Texas renters find their not-so-forever home. So if you are one of those folks, please give us a call at 713-357-1616 or look us up at KimberlyLaneProperties.com.
Welcome back to Red Door Conversations. I'm your co-host, Lisa White, and we're sitting here today with Mr. Joseph Martin with Green Valley Construction. Green Valley Construction. And so before the break, I asked Mr. Martin to give us an example of someone that's getting started in multifamily investing. What would be an ideal property for that individual to invest in, and how much out-of-pocket investment would that be for that individual as well? Take it away, Mr. Martin.
Thank you. In regards to an initial ideal property, I would suggest a duplex or anything between 2 to 4 units. So a duplex to a fourplex would be ideal. One of the first reasons why it's easier to obtain financing because it's considered a 1 to 4 family.
There you go.
So for most young investors, when you go to acquire a loan, anything that is more than 4 units is considered a commercial loan. And at that point, there's normally a few more requirements that are asked of you in underwriting material requirements. And so doing a 1 to 4 family would be the easiest route.
Okay.
To obtain
2 to 4 duplex, triplex, or
yeah.
fourplex.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And typically, depending on the deal and the asset itself, I've done deals where I only brought out $5,000, $10,000, or less out of pocket.
So let's just say it's a duplex and it's priced around $125,000 duplex. Let's say it's over there in your area, the east side. And so what financial or what loan structure? Yeah, what explain to, because that's really the big thing. That's the fear why people won't take the first step is the money piece.
And the biggest thing is, as you described, the financial or the investor being concerned about acquiring good debt. When you are investing, a lot of banks really rely not just on you, but also on the asset. So depending on the asset and your intentions on what you're going to do with that asset, if you can be able to show them how you're going to make this property produce or improve this property so that it'll be able to be a even better asset, then they'll require less out of pocket from you. I utilize hard money lenders. I use soft money lenders, also known as private money. Also utilize a lot of commercial loans.
So hard money is not private money?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
And so what's the difference, if you can explain, and when should you use each of those?
It really just depends on who's going to give you the best terms for your deal. So it's really contingent on the deal.
So if that duplex needs work to it, would you do a hard money loan or soft money?
I would actually do now, it depends.
Is that a loaded question?
That's a good question. It depends on the deal, but I would probably lean more to soft money. So a lot of times soft money, for example, currently in the market, most hard money lenders are quoting anywhere between 10% to about 14% interest rate. Now, a lot of investors or early investors or people that want to get into investing sometimes will be afraid of hearing those numbers. Oh, 10%, 14%, oh, that's crazy. It's not crazy if you structure it the right way.
Okay, and what is the right
have your
way?
exit out.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
have the exit out. So a lot of times on my deals, and that's just one of the benefits about being a general contractor and owning a construction company, is I know my numbers, but also that my costs are a lot less than the actual market costs are for everyone else. And so when I structure any deal, I factor in the interest carry. So interest carry meaning any of the interest payments that are going to be due within that project, I factor that into my budget. And so technically it's almost that the bank is paying me to pay them back.
Come on now.
So I never, there you go, I never will end up actually coming out of pocket, because if you structure the deal the right way, you won't lose.
If y'all ain't heard nothing else in the show.
That's the part right there.
That's the part.
That's the part you need to take home right
You
there.
needed to, what?
Now, we've talked about, we've teased you a lot on the show today about the east side.
Yes, ma'am.
But my question is this: how do you decide what city or what area to invest in so that you can get passive income and security?
For what I particularly look for is areas that are on the come up. And I try to look for areas that are on the cusp of another area that may have certain development already developed, already prospering. For example, one of the first areas that I targeted right when I started investing back in 2011 and doing construction was near Northside. So near Northside is right near the Heights. So off of 45 and Cavalcade. And so one of the benefits of that area was, and also knowledge is power. So at that time, the city had not yet brought in the Metro Light Rail, but it was known that it was coming through that area.
Yes.
Right? So with the Metro Light Rail will also come new businesses, other, money coming into the neighborhood. And then on top of that, it was really close to the Heights. Okay. So for people that wanted to be in the Heights, but didn't want to pay for the Heights, they were able to get the benefit.
Proximity.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And from a realtor, I put my real estate hat on. From a realtor perspective, it was easier to sell. And the reason why, because the zip code of that area was the same zip code of the Heights.
Right.
Wow.
So
knowledge is power.
There you go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so a buyer that was looking at something for $400,000 or $500,000, and all of a sudden they see this beautiful product for, at that time, $250,000, probably now it's about $300,000, but they saw something $100,000 cheaper. Even if they were not normally going to drive by, they drove by.
That's it.
Oh, that's good.
So,
wow.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
why
driving the market, because you knew what was coming, and you were able to have the vision to see that.
Thank you.
Is being intentional about it. That is
so. What are your where are your projects? Your current one of your current multifamily projects. Where is that located right now? And how many units are going up?
He says a lot. He says a lot. How much time do you have?
What? Well, here's the deal. Not much, but we can always after the show. Yeah. With drinks and dinner.
Okay, there we go. Right. It is so right now. I have 18 duplexes going up on the east side. We have another community of 28 duplexes going up on 288, right between 288 and Beltway 8. So going southbound on 288, but before you get to Beltway 8, then I have
that's Medical Center South.
Medical South,
Medical Center South.
Yes.
Have 2 apartment complexes that will be starting construction in 2023.
Now you have partners on these, or this is just
on the 18 duplexes? That's 100% owned by myself. I have one partner on the deal that is on 288. It was actually one of my bankers and financing partners. They saw how much and everything was going. They were like, look, I got to be a part of this. So they're a part of it as well on that project. And then on the apartment complexes, me and that same partner, we actually have invested on those 2. Yes, from the bank. We're invested very, very heavily on those 2 large apartment complexes coming out in 2023.
When I first met Joseph, you were talking about scaling and, thinking about things on a big level, right? And you cannot. There's no way you're doing this straight out of pocket, straight out of your savings account. So it's like you said earlier in the show, it is really having a mindset and a preparedness to know how to scale and make your money grow. But my question is, there something? He said, "Tell me."
Get comfortable on the couch.
He's comfortable on the couch now. My question with this is, I'm excited about the scaling opportunity, but what are some of the risks people need to be aware of?
Thank you, Kim. That's what I was thinking.
Should people be aware of just on the front end?
Okay. From my experience, what I would suggest is preparation, and making sure to cover all your bases. One of the benefits that I do particularly is I focus on mainly, not all the time, but mainly new construction development. And the reason why is because new construction has assisted mitigate a lot of the risk that are associated.
The unknowns behind the walls on a flip or a remodel.
So what is, in your multifamily career, what is a mistake that was made that you know not to do that anymore, that you could tell our viewers? What is just
That's
one?
a good question, Lisa.
Just one.
I have the perfect answer for y'all too. Being too eager to do a deal, and it wasn't the right deal, and it did not meet your criteria. So stick to your guns.
And whatever, I guess, financial numbers, criteria you
structure
have.
at the beginning.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
structure. And if you move outside of that structure, then
That's not the deal.
It's not the deal. Let it go.
Somebody else said that too.
Yeah.
I think Andre.
Yeah, make sure you stay within your.
Parameters.
That's good.
And then you found out later that
It was a difficult deal. I'll say that. I still was profitable, but nowhere near as profitable as I originally intended. And it was a deal that was a stress. It was a little bit definitely a stressful situation.
Hard to sleep at night sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And so,
And you don't want that.
Do you still have that property, or have you sold that?
Actually, the good thing is, no, I ended up selling that property and made, like I say, an okay amount of profit from it. But it was a lesson learned.
For the level of stress,
Yes.
you wouldn't go down that road again.
Never again.
What
Gotta
about
protect
it?
your peace.
Well, I'm just not that we're diving into that specifics, but what about that project kind of gave you a little bit of heartburn?
It was, I did not mitigate the cost overruns with the economy and things like that. So for me, I always have my actual costs. I factor in contingencies. I factor in interest carry. I factor in overhead profitability, and then after that, then there should be still some profit left.
Okay.
If it ain't any profit left after that, it's not a good deal.
You know what? Thank you so much for being transparent with us.
Yes.
But you know what? That's what makes you an expert. A lot of times people see, oh man, you're doing it so big,
Right.
but they don't know that you've had stressful situations.
That's
They
it.
don't know that, maybe you had a sleepless night because the learning process of it, but you've been doing this for years now.
Thank you.
And so that's what makes you the expert that you are.
I
Thank you
appreciate it.
so much. Green Valley Construction.
How can they reach you?
Yes, they can be able to email the team at office at Green Valley Construction of TX for Texas.com, or they can even be able to follow us on social media. We have Green Valley Construction online on Instagram and on Facebook as well.
Excellent.
Perfect.
This was a good one.
Yes, it was a good one. I appreciate you being here so much. I've learned so much, and I'm sure my co-hosts have learned a lot just from having you on our couch. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Red Door Conversations, Real Talk and Realty, and we will see you guys soon. But until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.